Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. We're going to start up real fast. Star Trek Excaliber is our guest in the second hour, and we've got computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. That's all coming up here on the show. Two news tips, bulletin review from Marty Winston, two new ones. So what can I say? Sit back, relax, enjoy the show as we begin 2 hours of Computer America.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we've got Star Trek on tonight's show. Yes, Star Trek.
Which one, Picard?
What? Picard?
Yeah.
Could be. I don't know. It's got Excaliber, Star Trek Excaliber.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we're going to have both of the representatives from Star Trek Excaliber, the project director and the deputy director from the game, are going to be here in the second hour. They're overseas, and but we're going to be bringing them to you here on the Computer America Show. It's going to be a fun program here tonight, especially if you're a, I won't say a Trekkie, a Trekor. You know, is it a Trekkie? Trekkie has a
Trekkie Trekker. I semantics really.
It really is. But, the Trekkies came up with the Trekker because they felt they were being singled out as being, too nerdy about it. I think ever since William Shatner did that Saturday night special, and somebody in the audience raised his hand and says, "What was the combination on the say?" or something like that. And he said, "Get a life." And I think at that point, I think that was when that happened. But anyhow. We've got Star Trek Excaliber. The Excaliber project is going to be here with us in the second hour of the show. If you have a comment or a question, we always love to hear from you. Give us a call, 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. Also, we have our live interactive chat room from our homepage at ComputerAmerica.com. You can join us. It's right there. Just to click the show lounge /chat, and it'll take you into the Computer America chat room. It'll ask you if you, I think it says want to chat, and then you put in a username. That's the name you'll be known by when you're in there, and you're in. It's just that simple. And see, what else? Anything else that I know?
Chat room, all of our social media, blah blah blah. Check out our video. We have a lot of cool stuff we're going to be doing in the demonstration here in a second, using the video.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention, especially in the second hour, because not only are we a live radio broadcast, we also broadcast a live video stream, and especially tonight, you're going to be able to see a lot of the things that we're talking about on tonight's show. Ben has the technology to display all the different things that we're going to be talking about, and so we welcome you to join the live video stream. Again, that's in the show lounge. Just go to the show lounge, and the live video stream will begin to start. I believe it starts up automatically, and you can watch the Computer America Show. So lots of ways to partake of our program, as they say.
As they say.
As they say. So, in the first hour, we're going to be doing some computer news. Before we do that, we've got something I wanted to. Is it a robot? Something.
Oh, excuse me. Dinner. Backing up on me.
Oh, okay. We got something in the mail today that was kind of interesting. I thought we would talk a little bit about it. As you know, we're doing some renovations to the household here, and one of the things is shower heads. We're putting new shower heads in the bathrooms, and one of them
Sounds fancy, but not really.
yeah, well, one of the shower heads actually has an LED light system. No battery required. You put it in, and when the water is cold, the LEDs are bluish in color, and then as it begins to warm up, they actually change colors till when it gets hot, it turns red. So you can see what temperature basically your water is just by looking at the shower head, which I think
that one I like because no power whatsoever, and yet it can still do the LEDs. That's very cool.
Yeah. Now, how does it do it with no power? Is it got a little?
Oh, I'm sure there's a battery in there that lasts 10,000 hours, but yeah, it's
water
something
power.
you don't have to pay attention to.
I think it's a little water wheel, and then the water turns it and generates.
Little hamster.
Like
water, and it starts kicking again.
Exactly. And then the other shower head we got is very cool. It's a Bluetooth speaker shower head.
Built into your shower.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't like music in the shower? But it's always been hard, and especially if you don't have a water-resistant case or a Ziploc bag handy, not the easiest way to get music in your bathroom, because all that humidity will, of course, break a phone after a while. And and we just received this in the mail, and I'm just gonna hold it up here.
Yeah, hold it up. Look at it.
This is actually the speaker for the shower. And it's very, very simple, just a very basic design, nothing too flashy about it. Press the button, press the power button, pops up, makes a little doo-doo-doo, what have you, looks for phones, and it makes a little connection noise when you do that. And simple, it discovers it just like it would any other any other Bluetooth device. Very, very simple to find. And then using the volume control on your phone, it starts coming out of your speaker.
Oh, nice.
And the sound quality isn't too bad. And by the way, that's George Ezra.
Yeah.
Very good artist. Anyways, but yeah, no, the sound quality isn't too bad in itself.
But
all this neat little thing snaps into, because you can take it off and kind of carry it around with you if you ever want a pocket speaker for some reason. But you take your shower head, very basic, overhead shower, what have you. Pop it in, twist it, lock it, you're good to go.
Oh, look at that, and that big. Now, and obviously it has to be waterproof, right?
So oh yeah, no, it's well, actually, no. If you splash water back up into it, it will explode. So it's not a very well thought out design, but hey, it is what it is.
All right, and then that you obviously mount that into your shower head, and that becomes your new shower head, so you can have music along with your shower, which is very cool. So,
yep.
And I tried to find the company. No such luck. I think they're in China or something.
Their instructions were hilariously written in not exactly perfect English. I would dare to say extremely broken English. But they tried. Haven't hooked it up yet per se, but I mean the technology part of it, which is what we're interested in, seems to be working just fine.
Yeah. Well, and basically, no, you don't really need. In this case, you don't. I always say read the instructions. In this case, the instructions were kind of,
Oh yeah, no, they're full of do not puts in mouth kind of language. It was broken English. So don't expect to call up this company. And again, we apologize for not having the company right off the top of our head. We're pretty sure we purchased this one from eBay, so not exactly from a website. Mm-hmm. But you probably won't be able to call them up for good customer support.
Yeah, I can imagine. Can you imagine what that call would sound like? Customer support. Yes, I'm trying to use your Bluetooth shower head, and I'm in the shower right now. So, can you help me make this thing work? I don't.
But hey, at the end of the day, I liked it because it's a shower head, and I personally love listening to, not just music, but also videos, live streams, listening to sports, what have you, any of that kind of stuff. You can, just pair it up and leave your phone, in your bedroom, in the next room over, charging, what have you, and just have it play, through the speaker in your shower.
Mhm.
and all of that for something you'd expect, maybe cost a little bit more.
Mhm.
But as you can see, everything here is plastic. Nothing here is very expensive material. But that doesn't matter because if you can get this thing for about $40, hey, a speaker in your shower.
Is that what that cost? About $40?
Yeah, about $40.
Wow. All right.
How elegant for such a low cost.
I think so. Now, does it come in any other colors other than yellow?
No idea. I would assume so. Yellow, orange doesn't. It all seems like pre-manufactured parts, so you could probably find it in all different colors.
Okay. And again, go to Amazon or
This particular one was purchased from eBay. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. But again, I apologize not knowing the precise name of the company or the precise name of the product. Just I'm sure if you type in Bluetooth speaker shower head, I'm sure it'll pop up.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. All right. We like bringing these little things. By the way, and speaking of Bluetooth speakers, we're gonna have a show that's coming this Thursday from a company called iLove, and they have a really amazing little Bluetooth speaker that we're going to be talking about. And I understand they're going to be sending you one for editorial review. So that will be nice. Coming up later. That's coming up. They're coming on Thursday. Yeah, they'll be on the show on Thursday in the Thursday second hour, exactly. All right. Anything else you want to mention before we get started here, Ben?
No. In the first hour, we are Sans guests, so we'll be doing computer and technology news, and I think we should just jump right in it because there have been a few big things happening that I didn't even see coming.
Really? Some big.
Really.
Okay. Well, then we
big as in big money, big acquisition things.
Okay. Well, I'm all for big acquisitions. Okay. Well, then I just got to do one more quick thing here, and then we'll get started with the news portion of the show. Let's just do it. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. That's right. Everything at slimwareutilities.com is completely free. Check it out. Download them all. Hey, why not? They're free. Use them. You'll be happy that you did, and you'll thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com. And in this first story, Samsung has launched a new series of hard drives. They're external. They're USB 3.0 and up to 4 terabytes of 4 terabyte models.
That's a lot of storage.
It's a 2.5-inch form factor. That's the really small drives. 2.5-inch form factor, and a massive 4 terabytes of storage. Now, these drives basically measure just 0.78 inches thick, or thin, I guess, and weigh in at about a mere 8.3 ounces. That is incredible. Less than an inch thick, and
that's by who again?
Samsung.
Samsung.
Yeah. You thought they just made hard phones.
They do it all.
Yeah, they do. Basically, with this new form factor, they're going to a single drive solution, and again, USB 3.0, so they're going to have a high throughput. And they come in 2 flavors, evidently, the M3 portable external drive and the P3 portable external drive. Now, the difference is the M3 has a blocky etch designed pattern in it, whereas the P3 portable has a thinner, smoother casing. Okay. However, if you take a closer look at the specs, they also reveal that the M3 portable has a USB 3.0 transfer rate of 4.8 gigabits per second, where the P3 has a USB 3.0 transfer of 5 gigabits per second. Okay. I didn't know that the color of the casing could affect the transfer rate, but evidently it does.
Oh yeah, no, red's always faster.
Yeah.
It's the same with cars.
Yeah, evidently. Who knew? But despite the USB 3.0 transfer rate and general appearance, both drives presumably have the same components as previously indicated. And they're going to be offering capacity between 500 gigabytes and 4 terabytes. And obviously will prove useful to people with laptops, who need a lot of capacity in a very small space. You'll need the USB 3.0 ports if you want the blazing speed, but they are backwards compatible with 2.0 and even USB 2.0 and older, so they will work with that. No pricing details for the two drives, but they're going to be available, I guess, before the end of this month. So there it is.
And the cost was what?
They're saying the P3 Newegg is going to be selling the P3 portable external drives for $44.99, $45 for the 500 gig, $60 for the 1 terabyte, and $90 for the 2 terabytes. So,
so for the 4 terabyte,
so maybe $200.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit south of that, but still, 4 terabytes. That's about 3 of the computers that I'm using right now. That's a lot of storage in one little device.
Yeah, that's impressive. No question about it.
Little things like this is like makes you wonder why cloud backup and cloud storage, not really cloud backup, but cloud storage, that's just been getting cheaper and cheaper all the time, and a few companies now are at least offering unlimited, as much as you can store options, and you can kind of see why. Is if they can pack this much storage into these little devices, think about the huge server racks that they have, the huge racks of hard drives to store everyone's data. It's becoming much more convenient than it used to be.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yep. All right. So on to some of the bigger news stories that we were kind of alluding to earlier. By the way, some of the chat room just brought this up. I saw it. I didn't really focus on it. But Craig, do you know a gentleman by the name of James Horner?
Yes, he is very well known. He's like he's a
composer.
Musician. Composer. Yes. Like John Williams. He did the Star Wars. I mean, he's of that caliber.
Yeah. James Horner did Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. That was his first big thing.
He's done so many movies.
Yeah.
Though he's an amazing. He did the Rocketeer. I start just rattling them off, but he's does some amazing music. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He today, unfortunately, sad to report that he was in a plane crash.
Oh no.
Yeah, and he's presumed dead.
Oh no, that's terrible.
That's worse. That's for such a high profile and successful musician that obviously worked on a lot of great projects and brought a lot of talent to what he did. It's crazy that happened so suddenly.
Yeah, no, you just heard this now. Well, that's yeah. Well, they say he's presumably
I
still
just want to give that a shout out because he did do a lot of things in pop culture, especially in the tech and the nerd and the geek universe. He helped with a lot of projects, and condolences to his family. But he will be missed, and we'll certainly be hearing his stuff for a long time to come because, again, he worked on a lot of classics.
Yeah, he was a brilliant musician, a composer.
For sure.
Absolutely. That makes me sad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Sad. No. But that wasn't one of the stories. Just wanted to get that out there. And by the way, he has worked on so many things, including Field of Dreams.
Yes, he has.
Really.
Field of Dreams. Absolutely. He's done a lot of movies.
All right. But going back more on the tech side, on a lighter note. Okay. How about one that might make you happy? Huge if. This might make you happy if you are an investor with Netflix.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the exact article here, but Netflix is here we go. Netflix stock split.
Oh.
Found it. This one from Gadget, and the article by Richard Lawler says that Netflix announces a 7-for-1 stock split.
Wow.
Right? You know, because most stocks are usually 2-for-1 or 3-for-1,
Yeah.
but 7-for-1 is crazy.
Yeah.
So, long ago are the days of Quickster. Yes, Quickster. Netflix stock price has more than doubled since last December, and the price of shares nearing $700 today. It announced plans for a 7-for-1 stock split. Closing at 681, the board of directors approved the plan to distribute 6 additional shares for each one held as of the close of business July 2nd. In terms of how often we see something like this happens, this comes about a year after Apple announced its own 7-for-1 stock split, and
Well,
that's about it.
yeah. They mentioned in the article, on a melancholy note, or being melancholy, the split will come almost 5 years to the day after Blockbuster's attempt to reverse stock split to avoid delisting.
Netflix, I think, was one of the key influences on what ended Blockbuster. The whole movie rental chain is, kind of went by the wayside as soon as people could get it not only streaming in their homes, but could get it delivered to their mailbox. Blockbuster, with its numerous upon numerous brick and mortar stores, just could not keep up. Just were not nimble enough.
They tried everything. I mean, they were
They
selling
tried.
popcorn. I mean, you all this stuff you could buy.
Oh, they turned into a real experience, and then they even tried their hand at Redbox style renting. Where they set up the kiosk in grocery stores and things like that. That didn't last long either. So Blockbuster went out of business, but Netflix, that we all so love and is taking over the world one streaming service at a time, they're doing great with their 7-to-1 stock split now. So if you own stock in Netflix, first of all, great choice in investments, and you now own 6 additional stocks for each one that you owned.
Yeah, 7-for-1 split.
Yeah, that's good science. It's good to hear a company doing really, really well by, and this is the key part here, providing a good service.
That's right. That's right. See,
Who knew good services would lead to higher income?
Who knew? Real indeed. Hey, speaking of great service options, I really like this one. Now, you use Gmail, right?
Yes.
Well, it's official. Google has now launched an option which I think is just amazing. They're calling it their undo send option. So, that's it. So basically, the story again by Paul Lilly says, maybe you've typed an angry email to your boss or noticed a typo right after hitting the send button. Either way, if you're using Gmail and wish you never, ever sent that email, you can use the new undo send feature.
Folks, we are living in the future.
Yeah. Actually, it's technically not a new feature, although it's now official. For the past 6 years, the undo send feature existed as part of Gmail Labs, a landing spot for experimental features that aren't part of the official Gmail experience. Well, the undo send command has finally graduated. So to enable it, you go into your Gmail settings. There's a click on the little gear, icon in the upper right corner, and select settings. Under the General tab, you'll see a checkbox for Enable Undo Send about halfway down the page. Check the box, then select a cancellation period from the pull-down menu. This is cool. When you do that, it says that you can choose 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20, or 30 seconds. And when you're finished, scroll all the way down and click Save Changes. So now, when you do this, when you send an email, there will be a message at the top of Gmail saying your message has been sent, along with undo and view message options. If you click undo and Gmail will cancel the send command. Then you'll have a chance to edit your email or nuke it altogether. But from what I'm reading, it has to be within 5, 10, 20, or 30 seconds, or you can do it at any time until it's read. I'm not clear with that.
No, you go into your settings, 5, 10, 20, 30 seconds, you do that, and if you have a change of heart within those 30 seconds,
Okay, it has.
if you have a typo, what have you, whatever it takes, you click it, it will cancel the send order. Like, it's not really like, delivering it to their inbox and then just pulling it back and deleting it from their inbox. It's not working like that. It's kind of like you send it, and then it's kind of like holding it for 30 seconds or 5 seconds, like whatever, however long it takes. It's holding it, and then after that, then it sends it.
Okay, so it's really kind of like it's like an outbox, but it's holding it for 30 seconds. So technically, I guess it is an undo send, but in other words, it's not reaching into that person's
No,
inbox and
no,
extracting it.
that's another level of creepy, and probably a lot of people would not like that. If someone can go, even remotely, go into your inbox and delete messages.
Mm. So basically, this is giving you a think period.
Yeah.
You click.
For those of you who send before you scan for typos, or for those of you who for some reason sending that email to your ex-girlfriend and then you realize right after you sent it, oh no, this will help you.
Yeah, exactly. The 5 seconds. That's really fast. I think you're gonna have to do it. I don't even see why they're offering you 5, 10, 20. Just
5 seconds makes sense for me because let's say you fire off emails all day long, but then you like let's say you just sent one, but then you think to yourself, oh shoot, I didn't scan that one for typos, and then you hit it really quick, and then you can scan it for typos and then send it off again.
5 seconds is
Like 5 seconds is like a knee-jerk reaction.
yeah. Okay.
Like 5 seconds is knee-jerk, 10, 20 seconds is like, okay, I thought about it, and 30 seconds is like, I really can't commit.
Sending this email.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
yeah, and as Jonathan in the chat room pointed out, that the undo feature was an April Fool's joke for Gmail.
Yeah.
For the longest time, which is hilarious that people would send them and then they tried to unsend it, and that obviously doesn't work. But now it does to a small extent. Doesn't mean that you can send it and then let's say you sent it on Tuesday and then next Monday you want to take it back. Does not work that way.
Uh-huh. Nor would you really want it to work that way, I would think, because I mean, once you receive a piece of email, then you don't want someone reaching into your inbox and extracting.
No, you want your inbox to be semi-sacred, where whatever's in there is in there.
What if you never read it though? And what if let's say they did that but it would only apply to emails that weren't open or read. So if you send it.
Well, what if you let's say you read it and then you mark it as unread, and then you go about your day, and someone retracts it, and then you go back and look at it.
Nope, that wouldn't work. I'm just saying, make it so if you haven't read it yet, then you could reach in and extract and pull it back.
No.
You wouldn't go for that, huh?
No.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people would.
All right.
So, just another nice little feature if you're using Gmail, as I'm sure a lot of people are already. Sorry, Outlook, you were wonderful, but I don't know.
Outlook is still online though. You don't have to use the application. You can do Outlook online too.
Yeah. So they say.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. How about this? Google to Google, and I know that we have very limited time before the first break. Where'd the time go?
Yeah,
Flying by.
We were having fun.
Flying by. Yeah, but don't tell my boss. Anyways, this one from Engadget as well. John Fingus. Awesome gentleman. Google's Urban Tech Lab is working on free city-wide Wi-Fi. Yeah, Google. So Google unveiled its plan. Unveiled its Urban Improvement Initiative, Sidewalk Lab. Sidewalk Labs. It left one big question: what was the new outfit actually working on? And as of today, you should have a good idea. Sidewalk and a group of investors have bought and merged two key companies behind Link New York City in an effort to offer free public Wi-Fi across New York City. The combined entity will extend Link New York City's internet for all technology to cities worldwide. Ideally, one day you'll walk down any street and expect to get fast wireless data. That sounds more than a little ambitious, but it makes sense given Google's sheer clout and desire for ubiquitous internet.
Mm-hmm.
The easier it is for you to hop online, the easier it is for Google to serve you money-making ads.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So it makes sense from a business standpoint why Google would be pushing for, not only citywide, but really they're going to be focusing on the high population cities where everyone is already using, devices. They're already using phones, laptops, tablets, blah blah blah. It makes business sense that they want all those people online as much as possible, Googling and looking at their ads. That makes perfect sense. But I think from a consumer standpoint, it's symbiotic.
Did you look at that booth? They have a picture of it there. It looks really high tech.
Yeah.
That's New York City.
Yeah, that's nothing new. That's been there for a while, but it's very symbiotic because the people get free Wi-Fi, amazing, and Google gets to serve up ads. Okay, so it's a nice initiative.
All right. Again, coming up in the next hour, we're going to have Excaliber, Star Trek, on the second hour. But right now, we're going to pause, take a little break. Got the news tips bulletin from Marty Winston coming up. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Hey, don't look now, but your Who's-This is open. Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time the iSmart Alarm. We can't help thinking about how closely related home control and home security tend to be, especially lately. In both cases, there are sensors monitoring many of the same things. In both cases, there are controllers, though their preordained responses may serve different ends. In both cases, there may be effectors. We got in the iSmart Alarm and several of its adjuncts for review. Its Cube 1 controller is a small white cube that plugs into a router and a wall wart. Its sensors link wirelessly over license-free RF. Those sensors include magnetic pair open-close sensors for windows or doors, a motion sensor, and a camera that, in addition to feeding video, can also detect sound and motion. Its effectors include a loud audio tone, a power outlet control add-on, and alerts by text and voice calls to a registered and authenticated smartphone. We hear they plan some integration with Z-Wave, HomeKit, and Google Thread. We think of iSmart Alarm as a home control system that's optimized for security. Bottom line, the iSmart Alarm may be the easiest, least messy, and most goof-proof do-it-yourself home alarm system we've seen. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Thank you, Marty Winston, for that News Tip Bulletin review. You'll be hearing that one all week long, along with the one in the second hour. You'll be hearing that one, and then Monday, brand new ones. But right now, we're gonna enjoy these. We're gonna enjoy these. But yeah, no. In the first hour, very unprecedented. We have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. In the second hour, we're gonna have our guest on. Let's see, the Star Trek Excaliber. My bad. It should be very easy to remember words. I don't know why I blanked on that. Anywho, but at second hour, first hour news, we're going through all the all the best news stories of the day. These are fresh. These are not 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old. These are current events. So, Craig, I believe it's your turn to pick a story.
Yes, and this story, again, is from Engadget. It's talking about the upcoming successor to iOS 8, and that's iOS 9.
Whoa! Who saw that coming?
Yes, I know. Who knew?
Wait. It would have been funny, personally, if they named it iOS 10.
And
personally.
That would have been funny if they just gone, hey, we're not going to do iOS 9, we're going to go iOS 10. That would have been hysterical.
iOS X.
Yeah. iOS X. iOS 9 will, now get this, will delete apps to make room for system updates. So evidently early adopters of iOS 9 Beta 2 have discovered a new feature that will temporarily delete apps from overloaded devices when there isn't enough space to install system updates. Many users with the smaller 8 gig and 16 gigabyte iPhones reportedly had difficulty fitting the last upgrade onto their mobile devices. And while iOS 9 is only a fraction of the size of iOS 8, they're 1.3 gigs and 4.3 gigs respectively. Apple is clearly trying to nip similar complaints in the bud this time around. The new feature will, of course, reinstall the deleted app once the update has completed. Plus, presumably, any user data that was deleted along with the app itself. That's extremely important because, obviously, the data, not the app that's important, it's the data that you generate using that app. So basically what happens, a little thing comes up and says insufficient space for download. In order to make room for the software update, some apps will need to be temporarily deleted.
Temporarily deleted.
Yeah, all deleted apps will automatically be replaced after the update is completed. Would you like to continue? And then you say cancel or allow app deletion. But again, this is just for the beta, and they're just doing this. But it was kind of interesting.
I've actually had this problem before because I may be one of the rare few ones, but I actually fill all the empty space in my iPhone with music. And I can have over 1,000 songs that and I cram my iPhone full every day. So it's not like I have a single megabyte to spare. And I've received some of these where it's like insufficient room, blah blah blah. You can't download this, and it's pretty annoying. So doing this. The fact that they restore everything, it's not like everything's going to be lost forever, is actually pretty nice.
Yeah. Now you have a 16 gig iPhone, I believe. Is that what yours? Yeah, 16 gig, yeah. I think the smallest ones right now they're making.
And again, they sell them at 16 gigs. The actual usable space that isn't taken up by the operating system and all that kind of stuff, the actual operating space is only 12 gigs. So.
Well, the operating system.
I'm not going to call bait and switch, but I feel 4 gigs cheaped.
Yeah. Well, the next iPhone you get, you should get a bigger one, like a 64 gig iPhone or something.
Or just go Samsung.
Or you can go Samsung if you want to. I'm heavily vested in the iPhone, so whatever I'm going to be upgrading, it'll stay iPhone. That's just, all right. Anyway, that was an interesting little story that you like.
All right. Well, here's one on pop culture. Well, not pop culture. After the we're not going to get into it too much here, but after the tragic shooting down in South Carolina, there's been a lot of fallout for tech companies. That honestly I wouldn't have thought that they would act so quickly. Is that Amazon? You may know them. eBay, both of them banned sales of Confederate flag merchandise.
Whoa! Really?
Yeah. This all started with Sears and Walmart agreeing to discontinue all Confederate flag merchandise, including like shirts with it on it, camping equipment, just anything with the Confederate flag on it. they pulled it from their shelves immediately. And I guess in following suit, Amazon and eBay are I guess banning the sale of these items as well.
Now, what is their thinking process behind that, Ben?
What do you mean?
I mean, I mean, uh, I mean, is it that the Confederate flag stands for something this?
Well, they said
racist?
they said it's a controversial symbol, and for sure there's certain parties out there that have aligned themselves behind the symbol, and it doesn't exactly represent warm fuzzy hugs. It has a bit of a darker past,
Well,
and I guess
well, they said.
most companies, especially in this day and age, where politically correct is safe. Like sometimes you get chastised for being too politically correct, but if it's controversial, I think most retailers and those who are trying to appeal to the biggest, largest audience that they can, they're going to shy away from controversial, and especially with the shootings that recently happened. This is a perfect time for them to do this.
Well, they're saying that the Confederate flag is a contemporary symbol of divisiveness and racism. They said that the decision is consistent with with eBay's longstanding policy that prohibits items that promote or glorify hatred, violence, and racial intolerance. So,
even if you don't think that the Confederate flag means all that and whatnot, and we're not going to get into all the politics behind it, but I think from a tech standpoint, it's these companies, these large internet-based companies that don't have a brick-and-mortar presence, they're still going to ban them, from their site. It kind of shows that they, if it's controversial, they don't even want to touch it. They aren't going to. You're never going to find a shirt endorsed by Amazon that makes fun of 9/11. Like, certain things are obviously going to be taboo, and I guess the Confederate flag now is just one of those. So, if you were looking for that kind of merchandise, it's not banned in the whole United States. Like, no one's going to take it, take it from you, from your grip. You're just going to have to go to another website that isn't Amazon or eBay to go get it.
Well, here, see, I'm on Amazon now, and I just searched for Confederate flag shirt, and they're not coming up. It's coming up. I see American flags that they're showing examples of, but anything with here's a Confederate flag belt buckle, a Confederate flag hat. No, they've been removed, I think. No, here's one. I found one. But it's
well, they're not going to get them all, and there's always going to be some people that sneak through. But hey, just wanted to put that out there that a lot of companies are starting to take that merchandise off their websites.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, not surprising. I mean,
oh no, not after a tragedy like that happened. It's I've seen worse backlash, but this is probably a better.
I wonder if you can buy. I mean, anything that would. Can you go on Amazon and order T-shirts with the swastika on it? I would think not.
I don't feel like finding out right now.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
All right. Ben and I are doing computers and technology news. Google's new health watch will keep tabs on patients' vitals. Yet another health watch. Okay, they just evidently, Google unveiled a new wearable today, and though it won't be competing with the Apple Watch anytime soon, Google Advanced Research Development Division did this. It's called Google X. Is it Google X or is it Google 10? The experimental device is geared specifically for clinical research. Basically, it monitors not just the wearer's stats, including pulse, heart rhythm, and temperature, but also environmental variables like light and noise levels as well. That's interesting. The device could be a boon to medical research as it allows doctors to continually gather important data on their patients and real-life conditions. In other words, most of these devices, you go in for a checkup, it's a snapshot. For the moment. They take an EKG. Yep. It's a snapshot for the moment, but that's it. Things could change radically different, in the next few moments even, let alone minutes. And with devices like this, they're constantly monitoring you. And now, before you had to wear this harness, and they had these little recorders that you'd have to wear, and then they were very.
I remember those, and like hooked over your shoulders, and it strapped into your chest, and it read everything.
Yep. No longer. Evidently, they're down to the size of a watch now, and so basically, see, historically, doctors do everything patients, just need to turn it on, and that's it. That's how it works. Now, according to this article, he says we're now asking patients to take on meaningful responsibility in gathering information. Google plans to partner with academic institutions to ensure the device's accuracy before seeking regulatory approval from both the U.S. and Europe governments later this year. So there it is. It's a nice looking watch. It's a little, I don't know, industrial maybe looking. It's not as sleek and as elegant as an Apple Watch, but it isn't.
Why do you have to bring up the Apple Watch ever?
Well, because we're talking about technology watches. How can you not?
No. This is a wearable tech. This is not a smartwatch.
Yeah. Okay.
This is developed by Google X, the company's advanced research division, not their well-polished compete with Apple in the pop culture space. This is their their advanced research division.
How do you know it's Google X? How do you know it's not Google 10?
Whatever. Anyways, this is Google X. This is not their storefront. This is not the thing that makes it all polished and shiny. This is a tool out there that now doctors can really recommend for their patients to gather data, and this is something that you haven't really been able to do in ever in the past. Like seriously, in the past, however long humankind has been on this earth, this is the first time where we can meaningfully track and record and plot and actually interpret the data of you just going about your day, and they can kind of say, your heart rate is excessively fast when you first wake up in the morning. Maybe you're getting poor circulation when you sleep, and you improve it on the spot. Like this is a more active approach to healthcare.
Yep.
That if we're kind of looking in a broader sense, is going to help a lot of people, and heck, we're all about saving money. Is going to save you a lot of money, because most big operations that that people kind of undergo and break your piggy bank, they aren't one-off conditions. Like it's kind of rare to get hit by a car and then you have to pay all your money to fix that. It's continuously over years and years and years of ignored signs. Now we can track those signs.
Yep. I still can't. It was when we had Marcel Gagne on the other night on our Linux show, and he had talked about the thyroid cancer he had, and he had it operated, and then he was in the hospital for days and everything, and he wound up not paying one penny for it all. That's amazing. Anyway, they have these health monitor now. Evidently, Google is going to be making them available. They still have to do some additional clearance, but those bulky things will be of the past. Now we're not.
Think of this as a medical device, but just like hearing aids now, where they sometimes are implanted completely in the ear, or they're almost or maybe they're just like one single clear filament that sticks out of your ear canal. Like they're so unobtrusive that even though it's a medical device, people around you don't even know that you're using one. And this is a great example where it looks just like hey, Casio, you can't beat them. They're cheap, but it looks kind of like a Casio watch, but it's a health monitor.
Speaking of Casio, they're going to be on the show in August.
Yay, Casio!
Okay, so that was your story?
No, that was your story.
That was my story. Okay, you pick one.
Yeah, Craig might need one of these. His memory all over the place. Anyways, all right. Well, I really want to get this one here because it's a lot of money for something that I didn't even see coming. Well, actually, I take it back. We did report on it. I thought it was going to fall through, but it didn't.
Nope.
So it's official.
Yep.
This is from Max and PC, Kevin Parrish. It's official. Verizon and AOL are now the same company.
Well, they Verizon purchased them, right?
Yeah. Well, it's more of a merger than just an outright acquisition and dismantling of AOL. Like, I think AOL is still going to be a brand name out there. Like AOL.com is still going to work. Like, this is closer to a merger than an actual acquisition.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Got it. Sure.
Like they're not just going to take AOL and redirect it to Verizon.com. So yeah.
people,
So
people are still using AOL. Huh?
Oh, like crazy! You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Back in May, Verizon Communications announced that it planned to purchase AOL for $50 per outstanding share in cash, valuing the company at $4.4 billion. And Verizon confirmed on Tuesday that it is indeed making AOL a wholly owned subsidiary. So again, more of a merger than an actual acquisition. Like AOL is now under the umbrella of corporations that is Verizon Inc.
All right.
And according to Verizon, AOL CEO Tim Armstrong will continue to lead the AOL branch after the acquisition closes. And he'll report to blah, 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 executive. They have the whole chain of command hammered out.
Okay.
Verizon's acquisition further drives its LTE wireless video and over-the-top video strategy. The agreement will also support and connect to Verizon's Internet of Things platforms, creating a growth platform for wireless to Internet of Things for consumers and businesses. Pretty much, Verizon is saying that with AOL's expertise in providing Internet to people, in this growing segment of Internet of Things and just getting people, Internet, AOL is going to be a key player in that. Yep, and it also, just an FYI, the company will also inherit the 200 million monthly customers who subscribe to AOL's premium brands.
Whew.
So for $4.4 billion, you get about 200 million monthly customers.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, and
I guess because I haven't used it in so long. I just recently launched my AOL application, and it was so old it wouldn't work, but it was able to update itself to something newer, and because although they have the web presence and they have AIM, for messaging and everything, they do have an actual application, and I discovered that I had like 40,000 emails that I hadn't read on there since last time it's just.
Yep. And it's also worth mentioning that Huffington Post and TechCrunch, two sites that we that sometimes we use. We don't use them as much as some others, but those two at least, and I'm sure a few others, they're under the umbrella of what used to be AOL. So now those are owned by Verizon. In terms of being journalistic integrity. Those publications are now owned by Verizon.
Okay. So no word as to what we're going to see as a result of this merger.
Well, yeah, no, they said they're going to try to to do more over-the-top video or original video content and increase the Internet of Things growth.
Okay. All right.
Through Verizon. So yeah, just expect more internet-y things from Verizon.
Okay.
To put it in technical terms, yes.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Well, Ben and I are doing a lot of excitement about Star Trek coming up in the second hour. If you're just joining.
Yeah, I know. There's a full-blown interview going on in the chat room before we actually get to the real one.
Yeah. Well, the guests are. I think there's one of them is already in Hangouts. Well, actually, they're going to be joining us in our Hangouts, our video.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
One of them is already, I believe, is already in there. So I think Rob is already in there. So we're just waiting for.
All right. But while that happens, we still have about 6 more minutes in this hour. Still doing computer technology news, brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. I get a nickel every time I say that. Love it. Anywho, but yeah, we should have time for about one more story if you had one.
Yes, I do. This is from Popular Science. Rent a drone service launches in beta. That's right, like Uber, but now you can actually rent a drone. So if you want, let's say, for example, your very own drone wedding, this is by Kelsey Atherton. Without getting a pilot's license? Well, Evidently Fly For Me can hook you up. This is a Cambridge, Massachusetts-based company. Is designed for people who want to hire a drone and crew on a per-use basis. The service matches customers with pilots and drones, creating a market of sorts. Approved by the FAA in the spring, Fly For Me launched in beta mode last week. So there you go. Places like the Boston Globe's Beta Boston blog are calling Fly For Me an Uber for drones. And there's an element of truth to that. Like Uber's original innovation of turning idle car service drivers into phone-summoned ride shares, Fly For Me gets around a major regulatory hurdle. In this case, rather than circumventing municipal taxi legislation, Fly For Me meets the FAA requirements for drone pilots, so their customers don't have to go through the approval process themselves. That's kind of interesting. Previously, a business that wanted to fly drones had to get individual approval and certification from the FAA, a process that was initially lengthy, and while the FAA is approving drone certificates faster than it was, still it's a burden for the average business that only wants to use drones sometimes. Enter Fly For Me. As envisioned, registered customers will post a job they need to hire a drone for, like getting a vineyard surveyed or a wedding photographed. Pilots with Fly For Me, including both employees and contractors, will bid on the job. The bids can be answered as soon as 24 hours, which is a far cry from the minutes of a ride-sharing service, but isn't bad for contracting aerial photography. So with the rise of drone mapping tools and services, there's lots of business potential for drones in real estate and agriculture. And for other businesses that might only want a drone sometimes, well, services like Fly For Me, if they work as promised, can add a drone element where it would otherwise be prohibitive. The service has the potential to go above anything on the ground. So there you go. Rent a drone. I think it's kind of cool. You know? Oh, yeah? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nope.
Again,
yeah, great reading on that one. Really like that. But yeah, no, rent a drone. It's hey, if you ever need one, I've seen them do great things in the field of photography because again, a drone can easily take a camera up 40 feet in the air and get a great picture, but you know, the average person cannot jump that high. I have tried. I have asked. The average person cannot jump 4 stories.
I should think, you know, I mean, you know, having your wedding photographed by a drone, I mean, it can come down, you know, on an eye level and take pictures of you.
Oh, it could.
Doing all that stuff, you know, and I bet you we'll get some really interesting shots, you know.
Yeah, no, it's but again, it's like these rare events where you wouldn't want that stupid drone sitting in your closet for the next 15 years until it's, you know, at that point junk. It's you don't need a drone every day of your life, but you know, Fly For Me is giving you the opportunity to you know, use a drone in those rare instances where you really need one, because I feel like most people aren't going to be hobbyists for drones, so not everyone is going to have a drone, you know, handy. But for those few people who could find even momentary benefit to having access to a drone, companies like this are, you know, are going to help immensely, because again, you don't have to you know, fill out any paperwork, any form, blah blah blah. Go in, rent your drone, pay your money, and go on about your day. Saves you a lot of headache.
Yeah, and maybe wind up with something kind of unique, especially if you have a drone video wedding, you know.
Well, hopefully that won't be unique anymore. Hopefully that'll be commonplace, and people will just get great shots of you know, weddings, of graduations, of blah blah blah. Just, you know, drones are going to become you know, just kind of a normal thing.
Commonplace.
Maybe even football. Just drones hovering everywhere instead of those cameras on wires.
Yep, exactly.
That'd be cool.
So let's talk a little bit about our upcoming contests. You know, again, I'm still talking to Logitech. We're going to be offering a new prize. I think starting this Friday. Still don't know what it is.
Yay!
If you head over to computeramerica.com, you'll be able to enter in any of our contests. But basically, any of our pages on the right-hand side, you'll see these like little charms. There's Google+, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest. Click on those. It'll take you to our associated social media site. and then all you do is subscribe to it or like it, whatever you're doing. YouTube, you subscribe. Facebook, you like the page, and that's why you do it once, and that's it. And then you're in. And the more you do, more of those you do, the more chances you get of winning something really nice. Every Friday, we give away a really nice prize from our good friends over at Logitech, and that's going to be happening again this Friday. So head on over to our website at computeramerica.com and enter in all of our social media links and subscribe to them, like them, whatever. And we may be calling your name after the next great prize from Logitech on Friday. It's going to be something really nice, as is anything from Logitech.
Agreed.
Yeah, and again, it's all at computeramerica.com. Okay, so coming up in the next hour, Star Trek Excaliber. This is it.
Which we did some research on yesterday. Yes, it's an actual ship in the Star Trek universe.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah. There's the alert.
Yeah, where's the upgrade, Greg?
No, that's a Star Trek red alert sound.
Mm.
We're going to have them on the show with us in just a few moments. We'll take a short break, and then another hour of the Computer America show, Star Trek Excaliber, coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally stated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome into the second hour of the show. We've just finished our computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities. And again, if you have a comment or a question about anything that we're going to be talking about tonight, especially with our guests, give us a call, 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. And so I think we should get right to it this hour. Okay?
All right.
All right. Well, as I said, Excaliber. Here. Excaliber breaks the mold of traditional space simulation games by putting the player firmly in the boots of an experienced Starfleet captain. Now, from the outset, you'll be able to control your character and command your ship as if you were standing on the bridge yourself. From taking direct control of the helm to transferring command of any ship in your task force, or even calling your senior staff to the briefing room to discuss mission tactics, Excaliber is the most immersive Star Trek experience ever. Now, here with us are both the project director and deputy director, Rob Mann and Luke Wade. Gentlemen, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hi. Luke, how are you?
Clear?
Yes.
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Hi, Rob, are you there? So, Rob, can you hear us?
Rob may be temporarily disposed, but I'm sure he'll pop in.
Well, we're going to talk to Luke then, for starters.
Yeah. But yeah, Luke, thank you for joining us. As you can see, a couple people in the chat room have been grilling you mercilessly for the last hour, and there's obviously interest in what you're doing.
That's excellent. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us, guys.
So absolutely. So tell us a little bit about Excaliber. I mean, it's an actual online game. What is it? Tell us about the project.
Excaliber is essentially the game that we've always wanted, and when I say we, I mean the development team, and by extension, I suppose all Star Trek fans. Not to take away from what Star Trek Online is, because obviously those guys they're doing a very different thing. But really, Excaliber is it's a single-player story in essence, and it's a story and enveloped in a type of gameplay what we want to see.
Okay.
That's true to the Star Trek canon. What we've seen on TV.
So it sounds like this started out as a passion project more than we're a AAA developing company, and we were just giving our a huge massive pile of money to make a Star Trek game. Like, was this a passion project between the founders?
That's yes, absolutely correct. It started out initially with a video game called Star Trek Bridge Commander, which came out in 19. Oh, the people on your chat room are going to know this, and I don't. I think 99 or something like this, and that still has to this day a massive fan following. It's still modded, it's still played today. Initially this started out as a modification for that game, on the Bridge Commander engine. And as the project grew and as our ideas grew in scope and in scale, it eventually ended up merging to its own engine. And but yes, it very much did start as a passion project to give Bridge Commander more life, to expand what Bridge Commander could do.
So how many people are actually working on Excaliber today? And are they all employees or are they volunteers?
All volunteers, every single one of us, in that we don't get paid for the work we do. We literally have come together from all over the world. I think it's about 15 countries, about 50 individuals over 15 countries. Obviously, we've all come together, and the team, because we are volunteers, the team activity fluctuates, so there isn't 50 people actively working on the game at the same time. I think right now there's about 10 to 15 who are frequent in the forums, and obviously others drop in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And through the year, you see different activity levels. So right now, about 10 to 15.
Okay. So can you describe the game a little bit? I mean, what does the game allow you to do? Give us some background about the game itself. I mean, I'm looking at the screen right now here. If you're watching our live video, Ben is actually demonstrating some of the feeds here from the website itself. What is the premise of the game?
Essentially, it's very similar to Bridge Commander if you've played Bridge Commander. If not, the game is essentially going to be in two parts, and right now we're working on the first part, which is the exterior, which you'll be able to control your ship. You'll be able to, drive your ship to different locations, get into fights and battles and things like that. Mm-hmm. And the second part of the game, which we haven't really made many inroads into just yet, but that's going to be the interior part of the game, which is essentially where you'll roleplay as a captain. Well, I say roleplay, it is a single-player story, so not so much. But you're going to be a captain. You're going to be able to go up to consoles and use them. For instance, if a system's gone down and you need to repair that quickly, you can run over to the engineering console, start typing away at that and bring systems back online. But essentially, the first part of the game, which we're working on right now, is the exterior part, which, as I say, so you will play as the ship, and you'll be able to do all sorts of missions and cool things as the ship.
That's probably for the better, because I could completely see people, sure, you can be a captain, but if you could also be like an ensign, and it's like, I'm going to be the insubordinate ensign that is just going to blow up the warp drives, and but you don't have the that kind of complication when you're in a single person, because I guess for something like this, you're having one person lead a team, even though it's all computer generated. Are you still going to be able to interact with your crew, or is this kind of your crew does its own thing and you just kind of make a few key decisions?
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, we'd have a bunch of voice actors, and we'd be able to go to crazy lengths to have a fully voiced crew that that speak to you and interact with you and have interesting things to say. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat room here. But obviously, we often will aim really high. We'll aim at the best possible scenario and then bring it back depending on who's available and that sort of thing. Although, so yeah, obviously the ideal situation would be, yes, almost like Oblivion levels of immersion. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
We may not get there. Obviously, we have to be realistic. But that would be nice.
Okay, wait. So Bridge Commander came out in 2002, and you've been working on this
12.
project for when did this particular project, uh, not just modding of Bridge Commander, uh, but Star Trek Excalibur, when did that start?
I wasn't there initially. Actually, that's how long it's been going. I think this Excalibur began in 2007.
Hmm.
And I think I joined in 2009, something like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, 2007. I think it was a core team of 5 people, which would have been John, Mark, Emilio, Adonis, and maybe Rob. So it originally started out as 5 guys just saying, you know what, we Bridge Commander's not good enough anymore. Let's do something cool and let's do something, new and different.
I see. I remember my days of playing Star Trek. It was like little X's and O's on a little grid on my Apple II, and that's my recollection of playing Star Trek.
And you still lost.
So it has come a long way, hasn't it? Yeah, exactly.
I'll be sure to send you a copy of the game when, when I finish it.
But my kind of point there was that back in 2007, and of course we're in 2015 now. Uh, some of these screenshots that you guys have up on your website, they're no one's ever gonna confuse. Was this J.J. Abrams? Like no one's gonna confuse him for that. But I mean, as far as video games go, they're very very detailed and great to look at. I mean, it's the technology that has evolved, for doing something like this in 8 years, it has to be making some kind of difference that you can, kind of generate these images and, code much more efficiently. Lately, like, do you see any kind of increase in performance, with, let's say, any kind of software?
Yes. I mean, initially, a lot of work was done on the core engine, and that stuff's not changed that much, which means that that Excalibur it runs really, really quick. It's really although the engine hasn't been optimized yet, we do find. I mean, for instance, a good example would be the from model to in-game. That's so much easier now. Things are so much quicker. We're constantly because the project has been going on that long, we are constantly trying to, just update it and like, oh, this new thing's come out, we need to have this now, and we need to update it. So as before, though, we are a limited team, so sometimes, we have to be reasonable, and we have to say, you know what, it would be so cool to have, this feature. However, we're going to have to wait a little bit while, or something else, something else is implemented.
Yeah, it's an ambitious project. There's no question about it.
Is this open source? So let's say if someone wants to contribute, like let's say if they're a graphic designer, what are the checks and balances there? Like, do you have to approve them? Is there some kind of quality assurance? Like, if someone wanted to, help or get involved with this project, how would they go about it?
That's a really good question. The more technical side of it, Rob is the best guy to answer that sort of stuff. But in terms of, off the top of my head, I think the core engine, the deep down engine stuff, that is locked off. I can't really tell you any more than that because I don't really know. But in terms of the assets, everything you see visually, that's really easy to swap out. We actually, the point of Excalibur is, and something that we really try and drive, is to make it as moddable as possible. We really want this to live into the future. And so it's very easy. It's very, very easy to swap models out. We actually have tools in game for creating your own ship. We have what's called a hardpoint editor, and it's essentially a virtual shipyard, which is really cool. You can bring in different components of ships, like attach engines here, stick a bridge on here, put this on here, and just assemble it all together in game. And then you can decide how powerful it is, how fast it moves, in quite a lot of detail, really. So in terms of contributing to the game, it's very easy. Everything's very open to modification. Even our user interface. A bloke called Eric from, I forget where he's from, he's developed the user interface, and it's essentially a web page. It's a Chromium layer. So to add new screens into the game, all you need to know is CSS. That's it.
Really?
So it's really easy, really easy. So simple. And obviously we have templates and things like that. Some simple classes, you can quickly tap in and then you have a new screen, a new way of interacting with the game. So we make it very simple for people to become involved, and we promote that. We want people to become involved and to modify the game once it's released.
Hello?
Yeah, Rob, hi. Welcome into the
Hi. Apologies for that.
Hi, Rob.
Glad you can join us.
Yeah.
We're talking that voice you hear is Rob Mann, who was the project director for Star Trek Excaliber, and I think Luke was kind of describing what he knew about it, but I think he wanted to defer to you on some of the more technical issues of the.
Yep.
So,
Well, the hard point there is something we're really quite proud of. It allows the player to basically just drag and drop a system onto the ship. So if you wanted to add a new deflector dish or a new set of warp engines or impulse engines, then you can do that fairly straightforward. And even if you wanted to add a whole new system from scratch, say a new torpedo system, then you can do that fairly easily with a bit of Python knowledge or by sharing scripts from other people.
Makes complete sense. And though, let's see, I think I read right here, actually, for watching the video, that it's what you have is heavily influenced by Newtonian physics. By it's very accurate. It's not these ships fly this fast because we say they do. It's very, very accurate, which I think a lot of people are taking a shine to. But you're saying that like you can still write code for the engine to interpret, but you're not actually going down and rewriting all of that basic stuff that makes it incompatible with what others are doing.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
all right. So, can we talk about what actions are going to be available to players, throughout the game, and what? First of all, is there a mission that you're going to have to?
What Craig means to say is, what do you do?
Yeah. What do you?
Well, the goal of the game is to create basically a universe that the player can play in. So it depends on the situation they find themselves in. For example, you could be exploring a planet on your first mission from Starfleet, pick up a distress call from a ship that's been attacked by pirates, Klingons, or whoever happens to be in the region, and then you, as the player, will have to divert from your current mission to respond to that distress call. And that's going to be the driving force of Excaliber as these situations develop over time and lead you on to your own adventures.
Okay. So I guess, and that differs obviously it's not multiplayer, right? This is a one-on-one type game.
No, this is one-on-one.
Okay, a one-on-one type game. So, does the game have an ending, or is it just ongoing? You create this universe and you just continue to explore.
Well, there will be a storyline to follow, but a lot like Fallout or Skyrim, once you've completed that main story, the game becomes open world and you're free to explore, develop your story essentially from that single player experience.
Exactly.
So there's going to be a lot of replay value because decisions you make in one game, you can go back and make a different decision, and it will affect the whole thing beginning to end, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Correct. I should say as well, we also plan to include, I think we're going to call it quick battle mode, which just simply is if you don't fancy jumping into the story and you just fancy a good old-fashioned fight, we include a mode for that, which will just let you pick a ship, pick an environment, and then pick your enemies. There will be an element of fleet control as well. So if you wanted, assuming the engine doesn't explode, if you wanted to have 50 ships versus a Borg cube, you could just set that up really easily and really simply, and just jump in if you weren't interested in the story side of things.
Now, did I just see William Shatner in one of the videos?
No, ignore that.
No.
No.
Okay.
Forget that part. Forget that. No,
Okay.
but so who's in charge of the story of of the overarching game? Because I guess you can't just have people kind of saying, oh look, I created this mod that adds 18 hours of new gameplay. Like who's in charge of the story?
Well, we do have a dedicated scriptwriter who's handling the story of Excaliber. But apart from that, like I say, most of those stories are driven by the player's experience. The single-player storyline will just be a very small part of the larger universe. So a lot of it's up to the player. A lot of experience for developing that universe is the Star Trek RPG game, where essentially just replacing the dungeon master, if you will, with an AI system who will send the players on these missions and adventures. So the story possibilities are essentially endless, as the player's actions influence the universe around it.
Okay.
That makes complete sense.
I was just going to say, in the interest of modding as well, the stories as well that we're going to, create, in the same way that we want the game to be as moddable as possible. We haven't quite figured it out yet, unless Rob has some ideas in mind. But in the same way ship's moddable, we want stories to be moddable. We want missions, to be downloadable, and people to create missions and create short stories and things like that, and just make it really easy for people to share their Star Trek universe and their interpretation of what a good Star Trek mission should be, or a good Star Trek tactical situation should be, and that sort of thing.
There was a discussion on the forums and the public section just about this sort of thing exactly, and
yes,
we basically started to actually actively develop this feature as we were typing. So the ideas keep coming, and we want the community to be a part of this. And as Luke says, modding new stories and sharing those is something we'd be eager to encourage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. We have a caller who has a question for you, gentlemen, and his name is Shane. Computer Craftsman. Hey, Shane, how are you?
How you doing, Craig?
Okay.
I'm doing well.
Okay, so we've got some questions for our guests tonight, Luke and Rob.
Hi, Shane.
Well, before, hello. Before I ask the question, I want to point out that even 13 years later, there is a huge community for modding Star Trek games, including Bridge Commander. So there is a huge following that most people are not aware of. I mean, that is how much an influence that game had for Star Trek gamers. Matter of fact, what is the website? BC
Central.
Armada?
www.BC Central, BC-Central, maybe?
That's correct, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, BC Central. And it's still going active to this day, 13 years after release. So, but my question to Luke and Rob is, being that you have the hardpoint editor where you can add different systems, and these systems will actually have an impact on your ship. For example, if you have a smaller ship going up against a much larger ship, your opponent that's much more powerful, will you be able to use science and the universe around you to enable you to gain an advantage even though you are at an disadvantage?
Yeah, pretty much. If you ever watch the shows, well, I'm assuming everyone has, they use tactics, the environment, and their own skills to address these problems, even when they're fighting ships that are massively outgunned. The first system we actually added was, once we had engines, was the deflector dish, which is jokingly the solution to nearly every problem in Star Trek. So what we've created is a system where you can use the deflector in certain ways to impact the performance of both your ship and the enemy ship and the environment around. We've also included an ability to attach effects to asteroids, planets, nebula, so you can use those to your advantage. If you're in a region with asteroids with a high radioactive isotope content, then those asteroids will be hazardous to your ship and crew. So conceivably, you could lure an enemy ship into that asteroid field and use that to your advantage.
Lunchy?
Yes. You know, I, as a Star Trek fan and an avid Star Trek gamer, these concepts are just an amazing revelation for us, people like me. You know, the concept of it's not just a straight, point and shoot game. You have to think about your environment and what you're actually capable of doing, and that is what that the essence of Star Trek was not just a campy show. It was designed to make you think, and that is exactly the type of game we've been looking for.
Well, and I'm sure we're all gratified to know that that is in development, and hopefully we'll be seeing it soon. Shane, thanks for giving us a call, and hopefully and keep listening. Okay.
Thank you, Craig.
Bye bye. All right, 347-884-8881. Get you on and get you through.
Yeah, and I think that caller there kind of, I outlined one thing that is, probably a lot of the passion behind, projects like these. How close to, the actual canon do you guys stick to? Is it, in what universe and, in what race and stuff like that? Like, are you strictly, anything that happened in the Star Trek universe is fair game, or do you guys kind of have an outline of what you consider to be usable for Star Trek Excaliber?
That's a really interesting question, and that's something Rob was discussing on the forums actually not long ago. Is there are a lot of inconsistencies with Star Trek canon. For instance, just off the top of my head, the Defiant, doesn't fit inside the Intrepid. It won't fit when you work out how big it is. It will not go in the shuttle bay, and there are also lots of balancing issues in canon and things like that. So what we're trying to do is essentially take a best guess and just sort of say this is what's seen on screen. That's not going to work in a video game though. So let's do this instead. We were discussing actually just going back to the shuttles. Like we were thinking, how are we going to get these shuttles, which don't fit inside the shuttle bays where they're meant to go? How are we actually going to do this? And so there's some wacky, crazy solutions that were thrown around in the forums.
I say use a transporter and just shrink things down slightly, a few inches on each side.
So to speak, compression field. Bonus points.
Suggestion was.
Guess what that's from.
One suggestion was, as you fly the shuttle towards the ship, your shuttle will just shrink, subtly, so you won't notice, but it'll just start getting smaller and smaller until you can squeeze in. Sorry, but to answer your question, a few things we are sticking to canon because the canon works and the canon makes sense, and then so why deviate? Things like locations and aesthetics. But there are some things, particularly with weapons, how powerful a ship is, speed, where we have to sort of put gameplay first. So where possible, we're going to stick to canon, but it's not always possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure just giving it any kind of attention is going to be more than a company who buys the intellectual property and just says, okay, we're making a AAA title and it's going to be full of awesome graphics, but it's going to drive it's going to drive everyone insane because nothing makes sense.
Yeah. I guess for us it would be harder to make the game non-canon because we've all seen Star Trek and that's just what we know, So it would actually require more effort thinking about it, to sit down and to make the game uncanon, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, because you had different series. Of course, you had the Shatner original series, and then of course you had the Next Generation, and then you had Enterprise, which basically went back before that, and
it just ruined everything, and then
yeah, and that's supposedly how it all started, and that was only one season. Then of course we had Deep Space Nine, and we had Voyager. I mean, they all seem to.
There's a lot for you guys to work with.
Yeah, there is a lot to work with. So
yeah, it's endless possibilities. And you brought up Voyager there, going back to the canon issue. Voyager is pretty much a nightmare when it comes to making a gameplay make sense. And I've probably just offended so many people by saying that. But there's...
Well, by the way, gentlemen, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a little quick break, and then we'll continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are talking to the directors of Star Trek Excaliber project. We'll be right back with them. Don't go anywhere. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
No, stapling is not the same as sewing. Oh, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bullet Review for Computer America. This time, the GE Jasco in-wall Z-Wave Smart Outlet. One of our recent reviews was of a plug-in 12-amp, 1.5-gallon water heater that could mount under and serve the needs of one remote sink. Another was of a Jasco timer that could let you set daily on and off times in 15-minute increments, so that water heater, for example, won't use electricity when you're in bed, but keep hot water ready when you're likely to need to use that sink. To get even smarter about this, we asked Jasco to send their GE-branded 15-amp in-wall smart outlet for review. It replaces a standard duplex grounded outlet. Its top outlet is always alive, while the bottom one can be turned on and off by any Z-Wave controller. That means the day of the week, occupancy vacancy sensing, known away factors, and usage patterns can also contribute to minimizing on times and reining in the electric bill. Bottom line, Z-Wave control of the 15-amp GE Jasco in-wall smart outlet introduces more ways to reduce energy without introducing ugly little white blocks to the room. It's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Oh man, my childhood! What is happening in the chat room? I'll be honest with you. The first. Oh, by the way, Star Trek Excaliber joins us in the second hour. We're gonna finish out the hour with them. We have Rob and Luke here, who are the directors, and like Voyager was the one that I grew up staying up till 10, 11 o'clock past my bedtime, watching it with the volume down to like 3. And watching it with her, like that's the one I watched, and you guys are just ripping it. Oh, it hurts.
We had their favorites episodes. I like Tuvix because it opened up an interesting conundrum of that the transporter combined Neelix and Tuvok into a new life character, and then in the end they have to decide to split them back into two. And the question was, do you kill the new character in order to bring back the two regular ones? And it was a very thought-provoking episode, I thought.
That was one of the better ones, yeah.
Yeah, it was. But go ahead.
There were, but Voyager aside, and all that and all that gibberish aside, let's say let's get back to the actual game. And
yeah,
I'll admit, I never played Bridge Commander, and I have yet to play Excaliber. Sorry about that, but. How would you explain the combat system? Because that seems to be a big part of what this game is. How does the combat system work in this?
Well, you're in control of your ship, so you get full range of movements, roll, pitch, yaw. So it's essentially a space shooter would be the most simple explanation. You've got control of your phasers, torpedoes, and if the ship's equipped, the disruptor systems or the pulse phasers used on the Defiant, you'll have your cloaking device if you feel like playing as Romulans or Klingons, the tractor beam, so you'll have full range of control over your ship's systems. But the combat will mostly be either executing some plan you've come up with involving the reflector, or just using your phasers to take down the enemy shields and firing off some torpedoes to finish it off. But the tactic is using your ship as best you can to complete whichever job you're given.
So it's so space shooter, obviously dumbing it down by a bunch, because this seems pretty far from it. I've played many a game that is just point your gun in the right direction and pull the trigger and you eventually win. But this is is this something where you can fail a mission, and if you fail a mission, do you have to try it over a dozen times to get it just right?
No, even if you fail the mission, you'll still pass the mission, so to speak. But not completing the mission to a certain degree will have negative repercussions for the universe as a whole. So if you fail to save a planet, say, which is being attacked by enemy forces, then that planet becomes controlled by that enemy ship. So there's an element of real-time strategy involved. Sometimes you may find yourself in a situation which you just can't handle. Again, mirroring what can potentially happen in the show, we have to replicate that in gameplay. So failing a mission is conceivably something that the crew could encounter on Voyager. So we have to also have that ability to fail a mission and still have the implications of that play out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just knowing that you're going to succeed 100% of the time definitely wasn't the spirit of the show. There were consequences, and for that to carry over into a game, it's nice to hear that. Really, I keep drawing similarities between the Elder Scrolls and what you guys are trying to do is even if you don't succeed in doing X, you still get a Y ending instead of a Z ending. It all comes together in the end.
Well, Elder
Yeah.
Scrolls and Oblivion, Fallout, they're all inspirations to us because we're trying to do a similar thing by developing an open world RPG game which is set in the Star Trek universe. So I think it's easy to draw those similarities because that's where we take our inspiration from.
I don't think anyone would take offense to that. That's a great way to approach it.
So if you had to, I'm trying to understand what type of encounters can play, the encounters that players can expect to have in your game.
I'll grab this one. I think essentially to describe a mission, missions will be very simple. For instance, missions will be, save this guy or disable this ship or, just do this. And the plan is, the idea is to create, a world of functionality, a world of possibilities. You can use your ship in a certain way, an environment affects you in a certain way, and then you're pretty much free to, to go ahead and tackle that how you want. And so, in terms of, sorry, what was the question?
The kind of encounters that players can expect them to have in your game.
Cool. So, in terms of in the sandbox mode, encounters that like a ship in distress, that sort of thing, like a distress call. Maybe environmental anomalies and things like that. Rob might be able to add to this. And then the other types of encounters will be essentially the single player mode, which is the type of encounters we create, and by extension the type of encounters that people can mod in and you can download in some sort of way, which could be anything. Could literally, your imagination is the limit with those sorts of things.
And by the way, just an aside here, I know that we're looking at some beautiful graphics. I understand you also have some original music that was composed for the game, and we actually have a little sample of that. If you don't mind, we can play that for our listeners and see what they think. Okay?
Sure thing.
All right, let's play it. Let's see what we got here. It's very ethereal.
Definitely brings back to Star Trek.
Yeah. So, amazing soundtrack. It sounds very, very good. Now, is that an actual orchestra or is that the synthesized? Out of curiosity.
That's synthesized at the moment. Although it would be nice at some point to maybe crowdsource for an orchestra, maybe later down the line. But synthesized right now.
But I had to ask because I had difficulty in detecting it. I mean, it sounded very, very good, and it had a lot of the Star Trekian overtones to it. You hear a little bit of the theme in the background. So very, very nice.
Thank you very much. In a similar way, we we're trying to capture the aesthetics of Star Trek, visually, and so it makes sense to try and do the same for the audio. So you saying that means we've done that right, which is great, really. Thank you.
Well, yeah, no, I enjoy
like an electric slide guitar just doesn't fit a ship flying through space. Like you need something a little bit haunting and a little bit.
Oh, don't play the
complex.
second track. Don't play the second track.
Okay, so I have to ask this, or has it been established? What time frame in the Trek universe is the game story going to be set in, or have you not decided that yet?
It's 6 months after the events of Star Trek Nemesis.
Okay, so that's well after that's after the Next Generation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Star Trek had its wicked way with the universe. The Romulans are in disarray. It's after the Dominion War, so the universe of Excaliber is one pretty much in a state.
Exactly.
Do you find as you're making the story, or at least as the story is progressing, you're gonna get callbacks to episodes that you've watched, or are you gonna get like little Easter eggs? And it's like, oh, I remember that episode. Like, let's say someone's a fan, are they going to start picking up on a lot of these elements, or is it just here's my ship, I'm a captain, I like Star Trek, let's get going?
Yeah, I mean, where a lot of the the functionality and certainly the visuals and things like that are they're all taken from the show. So yeah, there'll definitely be moments where the player goes, hey, I've seen that before, or I've seen that done in the show. So there'll be plenty of Easter eggs. We plan to include lots and lots of Easter eggs.
Well, every location is essentially an Easter egg, because if you want to go to Vulcan, then you can go to Vulcan and see the sights, so to speak. Even if it's just in space, if you go to Deep Space Nine, you'll see Deep Space Nine and the Defiant, and maybe there'll be some Easter eggs from earlier versions of the show, maybe Enterprise. It's very difficult. We have 300 years of Trek history, and we're trying to give each of those at least some part in this huge universe, but making it make sense in a way that it isn't forced. So there's no overly complicated time travel plot to say meet the NX-01 crew or their ship. That ship could be part of a museum in Earth orbit, so you'll be able to go there and walk around the decks of an NX-01, or just view that ship in space dock.
So and I guess really having a set timeline and a set a set story for this, instead of just like you're saying, go back and meet the original crew, and go back, and go forward and meet, the so-and-so crew. I guess having a really set thing allows you to fully explore, I guess, the story that you're trying, like the story onto itself, that is Star Trek Excaliber. Like you guys are trying to be not just an amalgamation of all the different moments throughout all the Star Trek history, but you're trying to be your own story.
Yeah. Going back to the setting thing, the question, we're exploring beyond the series and the movies. Nemesis left us off at a point which didn't address any of the major issues facing the Federation and the powers of the Alpha and Beta quadrants following the Dominion War, which is where Excaliber will slip in just after that and say, well, these are the events that have happened. Now let's see how those events play out. You've got several major powers, the Cardassians, the Breen, and the Dominion, who have all effectively lost the Dominion War. The Cardassians are now no longer a power. The Romulans are facing potentially a civil war, and the Klingons are still recovering from their losses in the Dominion War. And none of that was really covered in the series, but we think that that situation leads to so many story possibilities, and we just have to explore that and advance the universe just a little bit further.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, if you had to define, I'm going to go back to Luke on this, if you had to find a main motivation for everyone who's working on this project, what would you say it is? Would you...
Women.
There, the truth comes out.
Essentially, it's pretty simple. There's, apart from Bridge Commander, a lot of Star Trek fans feel that, there's never been a game that quite justifies the Star Trek universe. The Star Trek universe is so vast and so wonderful and so, beautiful. And games have never been, it's never been easier, with the current hardware and the current possibilities to sort of duplicate that in an interactive way, And so that's really, what we want to do. The thing is, we don't have to be in a rush to do it, to release anything, because, as Shane said earlier, the gaming community for Star Trek is so robust and so steadfast. They'll be around for a long time. So really, we just want to get it right. We want to take what's seen on screen, remove all those weird bits that don't quite make sense, and and produce a very playable, very accessible, true Star Trek gaming experience.
Well, you're not up against any kind of deadlines. I mean, you're not as you were, let's say, with a large, like an Electronic Arts or something. You have schedules.
Yeah,
Well, luckily, luckily your deadline is eventually.
Yeah. And it can be that way too. Of course, you don't want to fall into the trap that we want it so perfect that it's never going to get released. Eventually you probably need to get it out there, and then work on whatever corrections you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned earlier that we, with everything that we do, we'll aim as high as possible, and then we'll try and be reasonable, and we'll go, right, well, we don't have the budget for that, or we don't have the people for that, and just be reasonable and step it down until it's a finish point, in which case we'll move on. So it is about being reasonable with a lot of things. So yeah, we don't want to wait forever. Obviously, it has already been quite a while, as people keep telling us.
Right.
But yeah, it's about finding a point that works and staying. That'll do.
Well, okay. So the current state of the game right now is what? Where does it stand at this point?
I'll hand it over to Rob.
Yeah, at the moment we're focusing on completing and finalizing all of the ship subsystems. Then we'll be releasing the hardpoint editor. After that, our first release, which we're hoping will coincide with the 50th anniversary of the franchise, will be exploring, getting to know the universe, and then after that we'll continue to evolve the game by releasing new updates on a regular basis, sort of like what Kerbal Space Program or any of the newer games are starting to do. Like you were saying, it's been so long in development. At this point, we're very aware that our community want to get their hands on this game. So we've looked at the game just in the last 6 or 7 months and saying, what's obtainable, what can we get into their hands, and how can we get them enjoying what we've done and keep it as high quality as possible. So by focusing on these little pieces and improving them to the very, very high standard, we feel that the new release schedule will be much better for that.
Exactly. And if people want to, stay in touch or get involved with this, they want to volunteer? How do they get a hold of you guys? What do they do?
Cool. Well, there's two main ways. The first would be the forums. We have a dedicated recruitment section over there. If you fancy helping out, or if you know anybody who might, be interested, we have a list of roles that that we'd need. But we do say, even if you don't, even for instance, if you're a character animator, we're not looking for that right now. But we still say, get in touch, email us, or post on the forums, because it's useful to know that you're willing to help, and when we get to that stage, we can get in touch with you. So the best way would be via the forums, or alternatively, you can email us at contact@stexcaliber.com. So whatever it is you do, whatever skill you have, if you want to help, get in touch, and we will find something for you to do.
Now,
Whatever that is.
when the game comes out, is it you going to sell the game? Is it going to be available for purchase? Is it?
Are you going for the Steam Greenlight?
Yeah. How are you going to market the game? How are you going to make it available?
We're not sure on the distribution platform just yet, whether that is Steam or whether that is available for like torrent download. But it will be for free. It will be absolutely free to download. It will be free to modify. You can do whatever you want with it.
Really? So you're going to? So there's no profit motive here at all, is what you're saying? It's just a labor of love, really.
No, we're all volunteers. Truly in the essence of Star Trek. Almost poetically, yeah. We're doing it for free. It will be available for free.
Well, money doesn't exist in the Federation.
In the credits.
You also need to be careful not to run afoul of cease and desist orders from the powers that be. So legally as well, we can't actually charge for the game. Not that we would anyway, since day one. We've always said it would be a free release. So we're always careful when it comes to, why didn't you charge for this?
Well, how about gold pressed platinum? Maybe a little bit of that. Maybe you charge that, or dilithium crystals or something. No, it's going to be for free, I guess.
I guess the trick for you guys is to stay under the radar. Don't tell anyone about this. And Star Trek Excaliber.com, Excaliber.com. Okay. Just be low key about it.
Absolutely. This isn't live, is it? This isn't going out to thousands of people all over the world.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. But the point the point is it's obviously a wonderful effort on your part, and we commend you.
And to be honest, Star Trek is getting a great helping hand, from you guys. You guys are obviously very passionate about this. There are so many other genres and projects out there, and personally, I've been waiting for a decent Wheel of Time game to come out. There was that awful one back in the day, but I think a lot of projects will get people excited and do something very similar to this. But for you guys to do it for Star Trek, I'm sure you're going to make a lot of people very, very happy.
I would think so, exactly. And again, you think what? And can you give me some sort of time reference? You think it's going to be 6 months?
We're going to release it in stages. The first stage, the Alpha 1 release, we're hoping will be July. Is it July next year?
Yeah. All right, July.
We're hoping to actually release something next year.
1 year. All right.
Yeah. When you guys get a final release, and however you release it, be sure to send us an email, and we'll have you guys back on for your actual launch, and we'll talk about just what you're releasing.
Looks great.
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thanks again for being with us here on Computer America, and best of luck to you. I think that so far it just looks amazing, and as Ben said, we'll have you back on the show when it comes.
Guys, very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, gentlemen, thank you again for being here with us on Computer America. Have a good evening. Good night.
Awesome work. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, there you go. Great music too.
Oddly enough, Star Trek and techies all over the world, there seems to be a little bit of an overlap there. So I think from an audience standpoint, I think a lot of people are gonna like like this interview that we just did, because hey, it's Star Trek. Who wouldn't want a full-fledged, well thought out game about their favorite television show?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Star Trek. It
brings in I don't know, a lot of people.
So many memories from those series. Everybody has their own favorite series. I have several that are some of my favorites from different episodes, from the Voyager, from all the different ones that they had out there. I selected a few that I think is just a really outstanding, right from the original series. Well, let's see what we got coming up tomorrow night. What do we got coming up tomorrow night? We have David Noyes is going to be with us in the first hour. David Noyes is a professional photographer. I talked to him today. He's a photographer and travel writer.
90 seconds.
He's going to talk about his transition from film to digital and what that meant, and the technologies that he uses today as a professional photographer. I think it's going to be very, very.
You'd think photography would be pretty, pretty low tech and pretty, straightforward, but thousands upon thousands of dollars of equipment.
Yeah.
It's anything but.
Yeah, exactly. And then in the second hour, Dick DiBartolo is going to be with us. The Gizwiz.
60 seconds.
Mad Magazine's maddest writer is going to be joining us. He's got some of the most fun stuff that he finds for us on the web, and he's going to join us for both hours here on tomorrow night's show. Some of the things that he's going to be talking about, well, I don't have time to get to it now, but
You're talking about Dick DiBartolo?
yeah,
He always has great products over the internet. He goes to trade shows. He goes, gets exclusive looks at things. Always great.
Yeah, exactly. And Dick will be joining us tomorrow night. Again, thanks to Rob and Luke for being with us here tonight. And Ben and I will see you here tomorrow night. Same time, same station. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
10 seconds.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
And there you go. Okay, thanks to everybody for being with us here tonight, and on the show, and on Hangouts and watching us. And again, we'll see you tomorrow night again with Dick DiBartolo and David Noyes in the first hour. So have a good evening.
Looking forward to it.
Yep, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.